a cocktail party, just like an informal party. From 6 to 8, or a reception from 3:30 to 5:30, you can arrive any time between those hours. For public events with specific starting times, movies, concerts, plays, you should arrive a few minutes before the evening begins. In fact, some theaters do not allow people to enter if they arrive after the event has started. Other cultures have different rules about time. In Brazil, you know where Brazil is, in Latin America, South America. In Brazil, it's not unusual for guests to arrive an hour or two after a social event begins. In the Philippines, it is not uncommon for people to miss scheduled events, to meet a friend at the airport. Many Filipinos believe that relationships with people are more important than keeping a schedule. Okay. Now, what I want to find out is we're working on this exercise on page 76. On page 76. So what I want to do is see how much you were able to comprehend from listening to me and reading along with me, okay? So what's the difference? Tell me this. What's the difference between a spoken rule and an unspoken rule? Those two words, a spoken rule, or those two phrases, a spoken rule and an unspoken rule. What's the difference? Anyone?
Unspoken rule is mean you know by yourself without speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a spoken rule is one that.
Unspoken rule.
Yeah, it's an official rule. For example, the traffic rules, you know, that you drive on the left side of the road. That's a spoken rule. Everybody knows that, and it's a law. You have to do it. That would be an example of a spoken rule. It's a rule that is written down and is announced to everyone. An unspoken rule is a rule that just everybody knows. So there are many unspoken rules for how to behave in Thailand, but I don't know them because they're unspoken. I learned them from you, you see. You tell me. And also I read a little bit before I came, you know, so I wouldn't embarrass myself too much. Yeah. So the difference between a spoken rule and an unspoken rule. And time. That's okay. That happens all the time. That happens all the time. Yeah, you know all the unspoken rules in Thailand, but there would be, if you were to visit North America, Canada, USA, then there would be unspoken rules there that you would have to pay attention to and sort of learn gradually. What do we mean? What's the definition? What's the definition of being on time? What does it mean to be on time? Mm-hmm. Right. Punctual is the same thing. If you're always on time, then you're punctual. So there are some situations where it's very, very important to be on time, and some situations where it's, you know, not that important. You can come late and it's not considered impolite. What would be some examples of public events where it would be considered impolite to not be on time in Thailand? What would be considered impolite to arrive, to not arrive on time in Thailand? Can you show up at just anything you want to, anytime you want to? Are there some events that are very important where it's to be on time?
Impolite when we go an outing and you came late. It's very impolite.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, For example, suraphet has planned a tour for anybody who wants to come today. He said that we're going to leave at 1:30, okay? So, if you showed up 15 minutes late, that would be considered impolite because everyone would be waiting, for you. But, can you give me an example of an event or a situation where it would not be impolite if you did not come on time? What would be? Good morning. Good morning. What would be an example of when it would be okay to not be on time? About when? Okay. A party?
I think, teacher, it's some accident. Have a listen. Some accident have a listen to.
Because Thailand traffic really jam.
Because what?
Traffic jam.
Okay. That would be a good example.
That traffic.
Yeah. If I think someone told me that on the 19th of February there's going to be a dragon parade at a temple, in connection with the New Year. So, it might start at 7, it might start at 7:30, it might start at 7:15. Who knows when it's going to start? Well, it would not be impolite to show up late because it's a big crowd, people are kind of coming around, that kind of thing. So I know, if I know that it starts at 7 o'clock, I might get there at 7, I might get there at 7:30, I'll get there whenever it's convenient for me, and it would not be impolite. But I think on the 20th of February, someone told me that there's going to be a Chinese opera at a temple. Well, that's going to start at a very certain time. And it would be impolite for me to show up late. So there's sometimes it's an unspoken rule that sometimes it's important to be on time and sometimes it's not quite so important to be on time. Okay, now tell me from reading this, whether it's important or not important to be punctual. If you're visiting America, North America, either Canada or the United States, and you had a medical appointment, an appointment with the doctor, should you be on time or not? According to this story, should you be on time or could you come just about at any time? You'd want to be punctual. What about a business meeting? Is it important to be punctual?
Very important.
Be very important. A business meeting in America, if I'm conducting a meeting and I say the meeting will start at 10 o'clock in the morning and it will end at 11 o'clock in the morning, then that's when it's going to happen. It would be impolite for the people who are going to be in that meeting to come late. And if I'm conducting the meeting, it would be impolite for me to make the meeting last longer than 11. I mean, North Americans, it's an unspoken rule. Time is time. Now, on the other hand, I live part-time in Ireland. I told you I live part-time in Ireland. The Irish are very casual about time. They're just, you know, if a meeting is going to start at 10 o'clock, they might show up at 10:30. They might show up at 10:20. They might not even show up. Very, very relaxed society as compared to, say, North Americans or Germans or Norwegians who are very, very punctual. So, what does it mean? We came across this word here. What does it mean to be irresponsible? What is irresponsible? If I said, well, that's irresponsible, what am I saying to you? What does that word mean? That word was, it was there in the, let's see, which paragraph?